What's up, Savages? Niagara's this weekend. Gotta say, I'm pretty pumped, but I will say this. It's gonna be a high of 59, so whoever's going there, you better not pack shorts or else you are going to be fucked. Today I'm gonna finish out my predictions bracket as well as kind of give some pointers on if it's your first event or if you're just attending an event and want to succeed. So, without further ado, let's start this bitch. What's up, Savages? You guys know what this is by now. I don't really feel like doing it. It's Wednesday. I just packed my bags. They suck. I hate packing bags because I always forget something, or I pack too much shit and then I gotta carry the fucking thing like the whole way through, and I'm not a fan of it. So I'm just ready to travel. You know, I'm ready to get into Canada and just kind of do my own thing, which I think everyone's ready to do. I think this event's going to be really big, and today, before I get into the finishing out my predictions, just the losers bracket, so it shouldn't take long, I want to give you guys just one piece of advice. So if this is kind of like one of your first events going to, or, you know, you're just going as a spectator, number one, network your face off. In the Call of Duty community, and really every first-person shooter community, you gotta be good at networking. You gotta make friends. You can't just kind of go in there and have your own little group and not kind of branch out, because you know what happens? Everyone should see this from the top teams. What happens is the people who are friends end up staying in this basically circle, right? It's called a circle of teams, and that's where all the team changes kind of come from. They're like, oh yeah, Methods, I really like you, come on my team, right? And Methods is like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go. And I'm not saying he's leaving, but I'm just using that as an example. So make friends, especially in the amateur bracket. I mean, you guys go through more team changes than the professional bracket, which is even fucking crazier, right? So make friends. The second thing, if you are competing this weekend, this is the most important. So one of the main reasons why people choke and why people really suck at certain things in high pressure situations is because they get in that situation and they overthink. And the first thing that happens to your mind is, what happens if I fuck this up? What happens if I miss the shot? Everyone's going to laugh at me. I don't think I can do it. And you start working yourself up, right? Instead, I want you to do the opposite. This is what I want you to do. Instead of sitting there and only projecting failures and everything like that, what happens is you manifest these thoughts in your head, and then your brain's just like, fuck it. I'm just going to go ahead and fail anyways, right? So instead of that, picture what happens if you just devour everyone, if you come out and you destroy them, or if you come out and you clutch a 1v4. Picture that in your head. Don't picture failure, only success, because thoughts have a way of manifesting themselves into actually the outcome. It's a whole science. It's called noetic science. It's amazing. I don't know if there's how much backing there is to it, but basically they believe that thoughts contain mass, which can alter events. So think only positive thoughts this weekend. If you think about negative thoughts, you're just going to stay negative and you're fucked. That's how it is. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into a loser's bracket there. There's your fucking tidbit. Yeah, take that. It adds a whole new meaning to Gandhi's thoughts. Alright, so as we all know, this was my bracket from before. You guys can take a look at it. That was the winner's bracket. It looks terrible. You guys probably didn't see anything, but let's just go ahead and start. So, Doesn't Matter is not a team. I have no idea who's going to actually come out of the open bracket for this 16 spot. So, we're just going to go ahead and pencil this in. And I'm sorry that I obviously didn't put this in, but Strictly Business is just going to go ahead and win. Now, keep in mind, this is very, very important. So, this loser's bracket is going to be a little bit different than the one that UMG is using. Now, in the past, they have used challenge bracket, but with MLG, what happens is here. Actually, I think I can explain it half decent. Okay, so what happens as we come up to row 2. All right, so if you're looking at round 2, basically this right here flips with this right here. So that's how the flip works. It's in round 2. So the loser of this match would play the winner of down here. At least I believe so. And so these two play these two. That's basically how it works. I know that's probably really fucking confusing, and I did a terrible job at explaining it, but I want you to know that this loser's bracket is going to be different depending on what UMG decides to use. Now, let's go ahead and do this. VVV versus Justice. I think VVV is actually going to be a pretty solid team. I've always kind of been like, not a fan of Realize, but I kind of like the fact that he's not a complete tool all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and look out for this one. This is going to be a huge losers bracket round 1. Keep in mind, these teams are guaranteed top 16. But they definitely want to go ahead and advance into the top 12 here. This is a very, very important match. So looking at this, Fuse versus Wild Gaming, I don't really know. I think this one might be a coin flip, and depending on who's more distraught than the other, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put Wild Gaming, and no one even went up there, so that's good. I gotta click a guy. I really suck at that these days. Moving down here, last one, TK versus Vex. I think this one actually would be fucking gnarly, especially if TK does lose. I don't know how they'll bounce back, but I have TK doing it. I watched Vex last night in the league matches, and I gotta say, they bring a mean search and destroy game, but they also choked a lot of the search and destroys versus FaZe Red. I was kind of like, what the hell? And they choked versus Complexity last night. They were up 5-1 in Game 5, and Complexity was able to make that comeback to beat them, and that is what we call getting your shit pushed in. Anyways, back to the bracket. So, round 2 here, this is where things get very, very intense. Now, this is very similar to how the bracket worked at COD Regionals, because, you know, there were 16 teams, and this is how it's all going to be done. So, looking at this here, this is guaranteed top 12. The winner of this moves on to the top 8. Cursed Black versus SB. You know, I don't know why, you know, I'm giving Cursed Black so much of, you know, basically a boost here, but I honestly think Cursed Black can take that. I think Strictly Business is a team who's very, very good online, but overall, you know, Cursed Black, all 4 guys in one house, building camaraderie. I just expect Strictly Business to kind of get destroyed. Optic Nation versus VVV. Optic Nation walks away with this one in a 3-1. I think they get pissed off a little bit, and then Miracles, hopefully he shines. Miracles, I'm looking at you, buddy, all right? I think you are one of the best players in this game, and you have the chance to really prove it here, especially with Optic Nation, because keep in mind, after this event, Optic Nation doesn't get to go against these top contenders anymore. No. Instead, they have to go through the open bracket and compete for $10,000 as opposed to playing against these top teams and playing for $70,000. So he has a lot to prove here, and he can make some money. So, back to here. FaZe Red versus Wild Gaming. The reason FaZe Red is here is because I have them losing to Envious in round 2. I got FaZe Red beating out Wild Gaming, and that's that. I expected to, not -1, but I guess you guys couldn't see it. I ended up marking it as -1, but I have FaZe Red just kind of knocking them out. And then FaZe Black versus TK. This is going to be a fucking matchup here. So when you look at this matchup, it's TK taking on FaZe Black, right? FaZe Black has 2 members who were basically on TK at one point, yet Formal, who basically just pieced out instantly, and then you had Dito, who was on the team. He was all happy. He was like, oh yeah, 5% discount code, use Dito for opponent wear on TK shit. That night, after the tweet's been made like 4 fucking times, he ends up joining FaZe Black. So there's got to be a little bit of bad blood there. I know Sharp has his head on straight, but it should be a very, very good matchup. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I think FaZe Black's going to take this one. As much faith as I have, or want to have, rather, in TK, I just think the fact that they're using Mad Cat kind of just, you know, I think it's done. Now, we're going to start from the bottom here. FaZe Black versus FaZe Red. This is going to be a fucking blood match if this happens, right? There's going to have a lot of viewers and a lot of eyes on it just because it's going to be FaZe Up and FaZe 5 and sniping and all that bullshit. I'm not sure which one's going to come out on top. It's really going to be difficult. I mean, on one side you have just slaying fucking monsters, and on the other side, I mean, JCap last night was playing very, very well. I thought the whole team of FaZe played very well, but as we all know from FaZe, they do amazing in the winners bracket, and then they end up falling short to Complexity, and then they just tank in the losers bracket. We saw it at COD Champs, we saw it at Regionals, we've seen it everywhere. Granted, at Regionals they did make a very, very good run through, but I'm not sure how it's going to work out, right? I mean, I'm sure Theory's going to want a little bit of, not revenge, but I'm sure he's going to want to prove to Formal that, you know, he should have been on FaZe Black, or that Formal shouldn't have left him, and Formal wants to do the same to them. Now, when I look at the matchup, it's difficult because I think FaZe Black, they're one of the hardest teams to outshoot in this game. Granted, yeah, sure, they've been playing online, but these guys have all proven themselves on LAN. But on the flip side, you know, FaZe Red is really good. Replays and Classic are like the most overlooked 2 players in this game, period. They are just monsters. They really are very, very good. So, oh God, I don't know which one I'm going to pick, but I'm going to, God, I think right now they're guaranteed top 8 as it is, but the winner of this will be obviously continuing on, and they'll be top 6. So I think if it is a phase on phase, for some reason I'm gonna go FaZe Black takes it 3-2, and then they are going to advance on here into the top 6. Now, right here, Optic Nation versus Curse Black. Optic Nation shouldn't waste any time. They should maybe lose one game to Curse Black, but that's about it. So now here we go. This is going to be the losers bracket quarterfinals. Now, obviously, this is all stupid, right? Because this is technically the losers finals, this is the loser semis, and this is the quarterfinals. So we're going to start from the top here. Whoa, okay, let's pretend it's not all blue. Okay, still blue. Okay, fuck it. All right, Envy versus shit, hit the same button twice. That's what you get, Scott. Envy versus Optic Nation. Now, Envy versus Optic Nation, this should be a very, very, very good series. But I think Envy's gotten a lot better. Optic Nation, as you know, obviously Ricky's going to be better because it's on the Xbox 360 and the AR is a little bit more powerful. And by that I mean really just the MTAR doesn't shoot fucking nukes. So I think it could be close, but I have a lot of faith in this Envy team. I am fully expecting them to stay in the top 4 until something just crazy happens, or if they break up for whatever reason. So I'm going to go ahead and take Envy, throw them forward. And let's pray to God I'm accurate as I think I am. But it should be like a 3-1. Most likely they'll lose the Blitz. I've heard good things about Optic Nation on both Domination, especially on Octane, as well as Blitz. So coming down here, Curse Orange versus FaZe Black. This is just going to be... This should just be a steamroll. I really think so. I think once Curse Black gets FaZe Black gets rolling, it shouldn't be a problem. So now this is where shit starts to get fucking crazy. So this is guaranteed in the top 4 here. And for those of you who love a good story, who would you rather see? Right? Here's the thing. Who would you rather see? Would you rather see Envy take on Optic Gaming in the losers finals again, like a Call of Duty Championship, basically redo, but with a different 4th? 2 different 4ths, I should say. Or would you rather see FaZe Black crawl back into it and see how they stack up again versus Complexity, since they played them in the winners bracket, assuming my bracket is according to plan. Now, I'm not sure how or who could take this. I think Envy's definitely going to win the searches, but I think FaZe Black, depending on how... We take a look here, right? Depending on who ends up gaining more momentum, and that is a train. It's a very, very loud train, and there's nothing I can do about it. It wakes me up every day. Depending on how much momentum comes out of FaZe Black here and Envy versus Optic Nation, I think FaZe Black could take it. But the big thing we're looking at here is the matchup. Envy taking on basically Strictly Business. And the last time that Envy took on Strictly Business was at Call of Duty Championship, which they're not Strictly Business, but it's 3-4s. They fucking blew them out of the water. Like, it was not fucking close in the slightest bit. Not at all. Envy devoured them. There was 3 people with gooses in the Search and Destroy. Maven was casting, and Maven was just like, okay, this was fucking nuts, man. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and throw Envy over FaZe Black and move them on to the losers finals. And I think most likely Envy will close out in, what's it called? Envy will most likely close out in the game 5. That's the ticket, Scott. That's the word. So now we have basically the exact same setup as how the World Championship was for Call of Duty just a month ago. So we have basically Strictly Business in 4th place. We have Envy and Optic going head-to-head in the losers finals, and then the winner of that plays Complexity. Now, this is where it's different, because Optic Gaming is a lot better now. I mean, Scump's... When I've watched Scump recently, he's just fucking destroyed everyone. Now, at the same side, I don't know... On the 360, you know, just raw gun skill alone, I mean, Optic Gaming should be able to take the win, but it relies heavily on how Study does. Now, obviously, Parasite's going to show up. Obviously, Merc's going to show up. Obviously, Nameless is going to be clutch, but we don't know how consistent he's going to be on the 360 after switching back, plus his shoulder. So you take all those things into consideration. I'm going to go ahead and throw Optic Gaming back into the grand finals for an Optic versus Complexity finals. And I think it's going to be a 3-1. I have Optic closing. I have Optic only losing the Search and Destroy. So now if we... Hold on, where's it at? Okay, so now this is going to be... the grand finals of everything, I think. Yeah, this is the grand final. So, Complexity taking on Optic Gaming. This is going to be basically a continuation series, which could be fucking nuts. But I have Complexity just winning it. I don't think anyone's really ready for Complexity yet. And plus, even if Optic Gaming gets the best game types possible in the winners finals, if they lose, right, then Complexity has their best game types coming up. But the important thing to note here is it is a round-by-round setting. It is not... The maps aren't with the veto system anymore. Every round is predetermined, so it's going to throw a wrench in everyone. Other than that, if you are attending this weekend, come say hi, hang out. We'll drink some beers and make some shitty jokes. You know, the usual. Other than that, I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I'm not doing a video for a long fucking time, by the way. Not till Tuesday. Kiss my dick.